Hello students and welcome back to the classroom. Today we're talking all about how to think about music more creatively so you can apply it to your own music studies and own piano playing so you can play more like a true artist. We're going to get into some detail about what makes music what it is outside of just the notes, as you'll find this is the key to thinking about music more creatively. So today's lesson is all about how to think about music more creatively. Now, before we talk about this, we have to talk about a lot of the elements that make music what it is, and I actually kind of call these basically the dimensions of music. And basically, I refer to it as that because these are ways that music can be measured, and music can change, and music can be observed. And you'll know what I mean here in a second. So one thing to think about is that when you're thinking about music more creatively, you should think about in terms of like a standard chord progression or anything like that. You should be thinking about how does the notes, pattern of notes, how the notes flow, how do these things contribute towards the overall mood or the direction of the song. So, when a lot of songwriters write a song, or composers, they have more of a, not an abstract idea, but they have more, abstract in terms of music, they have more of an idea, feeling, something they want to convey, and then they put that into musical terms. And this is why some people are against learning music theory too much, because a lot of people get kind of sandwiched into this thing where you have to use standard chord progressions and you can only do this at certain times and things like that. And they kind of forget that part of the experience in creative, thinking is that you make up kind of new things, and you don't always do the same thing all the time. So you have to think about things in terms of how does it contribute towards the overall sound and feel of the song. Now, things to consider is like whether a song has what kind of mood it has. Is it a bright mood, a dark mood? Is it happy or sad? Does it move quickly or slow? And we'll talk more about these things as we get into these elements. But the first element we're going to talk about is pitch. So as you know, maybe you don't know, but pitch is up and down on the keyboard. If something is lower in pitch, it's down here, towards that end of the piano. If something is higher in pitch, it is towards the higher end of the piano. Now think for a second, how does this contribute towards a song's sound? Well, for instance, if the song is meant to have a light kind of sound, like Furlise, even though Furlise isn't minor, it has a lighter and softer sound. So it sticks around towards, like maybe the higher end of the middle of the keyboard. There are some parts even where it goes up a little bit higher. So it helps contribute towards this song's overall mood and feel. There isn't a lot of stuff going on down there, a lot of sinister sounding stuff, because that just wouldn't fit the song. However, certain songs do fit that a little bit better. Like Bach's Toccata in D minor fits that a little better. And if you don't know what that is, whoops, it actually starts up here. Like that. And that one has a lot of sharp dynamics and things like that, which we'll talk about in a second. But it uses a lot of range on the piano. It uses a lot of octaves, played at once in a harmony like that to contribute towards, that kind of dark, scary kind of sound of that song. Or something like the Pathetique Sonata, Movement 3, is a little bit higher up the piano. It's also played a little bit faster, which we'll get to actually as our next point. So let's talk about the next point. The next point is rhythm. You want to think about rhythm in a lot of different ways, and that is the song slow or fast, right? That's probably the biggest way you can think about it. Does it have something that has a really brisk tempo? Or is it something that's a little more sluggish? And how do those things contribute towards the overall sound of the song? Is there something like, a very slow horse carriage kind of moving along? Or is it something, that races along really quick? Something like that. So think about also rhythm and how it contributes towards the feel of the song. If the song is a sad song, then you probably, at least at most parts of the song, don't want to go too fast, right? Since, I don't know, sadness just seems to have a slower connotation, at least for me it does, anyway, rather than running around all fast. Although I guess if you're anxious, but that's kind of a different feeling, at least for me. But yeah, if you're writing something sad, it's probably going to be on the slower side. If it's something from the Romantic era, like Chopin's Nocturne in B flat minor, it's going to have a slower tempo to it. It doesn't mean that there aren't notes that move fast in it, but overall it has a slower kind of rhythm, or the tempo rather itself is a little bit slower. It's a thing, upbeat and fast. So it fits the overall mood of the song. So once you start to understand how these things contribute towards the song, then you can think about music more creatively when you're trying to write a song of your own, or you're playing music and you're trying to kind of decipher maybe what the composer was going for at that certain point. So let's talk about dynamics now. So dynamics are how loud and soft you have to play, and it's pretty obvious how that can contribute towards the sound of the song. If something has soft dynamics, it's going to be soft and it's going to be quiet, right? Maybe something, maybe first waking up in the morning would use soft dynamics, right? And by that I mean Pathetique Sonata movement 2 is a bit on the softer side as well as the slower side. So it goes together very well. Now, does that mean that all slow songs have to be fast? Well, no. Of course, not slow songs. I meant soft songs have to be fast. But no, you can mix and match those. I can't speak today. You can mix and match those, but generally they will go together to contribute towards, again, the overall feel and mood of the song. So if you're thinking about perhaps Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, that's going to be mostly on the louder side. Now, it does have softer parts. I actually don't know how to play it all today, so I won't play it for you right now. But it definitely has softer points and louder points, and definitely has a huge range. Beethoven is especially good at this. Huge range of dynamics to really give this feeling of power and might, and very swings, like varied swings in emotion and mood. So Beethoven especially was really good using dynamics to convey, what he wanted to in his music. Okay, another one is articulation. So an articulation, if you don't know, is something like a staccato or an accent, something like that, or a slur, or play legato, or a mixture, something like that. So these are all articulations, and these are how you play the notes. So obviously, if you play, for Elise, for instance, and you play legato like you're supposed to, it fits the song. Now you can do it staccato. Oops. Oh, I played the right notes. Just not the same. Now, it doesn't mean that the song with staccato wouldn't be, any good. It probably would sound okay, but it would definitely feel different than... Whoops. Right? So it definitely matters what articulations you're playing. Short, for instance, if you are thinking, how do I put this into a song I want to write, or something like that, or how might I see staccatos used in a song? Well, think about, say you're writing a song and you want to write about raindrops, something very short, right? Well, that matches the staccato. Staccato is very short. So maybe you write a song like, where it kind of like goes up and down a little bit, but it's staccato at the same time. Starts raining maybe a little bit faster. And then, you know, maybe it starts raining louder. And then softer. And maybe a little uneven. And then it kind of fizzles out there at the end. So that's how you can kind of apply these different ideas to songs you're writing. Don't think about, you know, oh, I'm going to use a 1-4-5 chord progression, if you know what that is, you know, and then, I mean, you can think about it that way and use that as a structure, but you might want to think about really, you know, in terms of chords as well. I guess I could have put chords here, number 1 on the list, but the chords you use in a song are also very important, and they contribute towards the mood. So you have, you know, this kind of goes along with pitch, I guess, or harmony. So you have, you know, major and minor. For major songs, it's going to be happy. You know, happy songs, you're going to have major. Sad songs, you're going to have minor. And then, you know, diminished chords have a sinister kind of sound to those. So chords are very important as well. So if you're writing a song, think about, like, you know, not in terms of just what structure of chords. Think about, how do these chords that I'm choosing, how do they contribute towards the feel of the song that I'm going for? If I'm writing a happy song, it doesn't make sense to do a 1-2 diminished 7-1 progression, lead tone 1 progression. If you, like I said, if you know what that is, but if you don't, it's totally fine, because that progression would definitely contribute towards an overall darker kind of sound. Even though it starts with major, probably be better to do something maybe, in this case, 1-4-5 for something that's bright and happy. Of course, it can have a mixture of moods as well, in which case you can kind of mix and match the chords, you know, to your liking. But always think about, how do the chords, the rhythms, the pitches, the dynamics, the articulations, how do these all fit the song that you're trying to work on, or the song you're, you know, playing, the song that you are trying to write? How do these things make that happen? Okay, a bonus one, it's a very important one, especially with modern music, is lyrics. How do the lyrics contribute towards the feel of the song, or what the song is about? You know, look at the lyrics of a song and think about, well, maybe you shouldn't in today's music, but think about, you know, what do these lyrics mean? What does the song mean? And how does that meaning of the song also match with the pitch, rhythm, and all the other things that we talked about today, the dynamics, things like that? How do these things all come together to make a story? Because when somebody writes a song, it's not just lyrics, although some, like I said, some music today, that's all it is, lyrics with like electronic sounds to it. But, you know, it's not just lyrics. A lot of times artists will match these with all of these musical elements to create the overall feel of the piece. You can definitely mess this up in mismatching all of these things. Like I said, you can have a happy song, you know, with happy lyrics, but it's in a minor key. But it has a lot of minor and diminished chords in it. So you don't want to do that in most cases, unless you're trying to write a song that's like kind of a joke or a parody or something like that. In that case, I could definitely see that. So always think about, how do these things play together to make music what it is. Okay, students, that wraps up the lesson today. So I highly recommend you check out some of the great free lessons around on the channel. But if you're looking for something more, much more, I suggest you head over to pianolessonsontheweb.com, where I have a ton of courses I made about playing the piano, music theory, improvisation, proving your rhythm, sight reading, and a ton of other topics not covered on the YouTube channel, all designed to help you become a more well-rounded musician. So you're going to learn a lot more than just piano, and what's included are the same types of videos that you can expect from the YouTube channel. However, in the courses, you'll have the videos, plus you'll also have supporting learning materials to help you out as well, including, you know, printable sheet music, examples to look from, assignments, and activities to enhance your learning. So head over to pianolessonsontheweb.com and see how it can offer you much more than what even the YouTube channel does. So thanks for stopping by today. Welcome back to the classroom, and I'll check you out for the next lesson. Thank you so much.